7, yep. Let me get everything in the right place so I remember what I'm reading. Good evening. It is 7 p.m. on January the 8th, 2025, and I am calling to order the Cuyahoga Heights Board of Education meeting. Will the treasurer, whoops, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Decker.
Here.
Mrs. Etter.
Here.
Ms. Prouse.
Here.
Mr. Dobbins.
Here.
Mr. Souchaki.
Here, motion, all 5 present, none absent. On behalf of the board, I would like to welcome all students, staff, parents, and interested community members to tonight's Board of Education meeting. Board values and encourages public comment on education issues, and anyone having an interest in the actions of the board may participate during that portion of the meeting. A copy of the board meeting agenda is, for review is on the school district's website, and please silence cell phones. At this point, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this point, I'd like to entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Dobbins,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Decker. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Mr. Dobbins.
Aye.
Mrs. Decker.
Aye.
Mrs. Etter.
Aye.
Ms. Prouse.
Aye.
Mr. Souchaki.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. We are now in Section 3, election of president for this calendar year of 2025, and I'll open the floor for nominations for president of the board for this current calendar year.
I would nominate Mr. Souchaki to continue on as president for the 2025.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay. I'll accept. Are there any other nominations? Okay, hearing none, since there's only one nomination, a motion to close nominations and instruct the treasurer to cast a ballot for the nominee is in order, and this will require a unanimous vote. So, do I have a motion for that item? Oh, I make the motion. I'll make the motion, I guess. Okay, a second?
Sure.
Ms. Decker's going to second? Okay. Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mr. Souchaki.
Aye.
Mrs. Decker.
Aye.
Mrs. Etter.
Aye.
Ms. Prouse.
Aye.
Mr. Dobbins.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. At this point, someone needs to administer the oath.
Yep. We have two options. I can read the oath, and you can say I do, or you can read the oath.
I'll read it.
Okay.
I, Gary Souchaki, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties as President of the Board of Election of Cuyahoga Heights Schools, Cuyahoga County, Ohio, to the best of my ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And
Thank you.
Mr. Souchaki.
Thank you. At this point, I'll entertain a motion for vice president for the calendar year of 2025. And actually, I would like to nominate Ms. Decker.
And I heartily second it.
Are there any other nominations? Okay. Hearing none, we'll have a motion to close nominations and instruct the treasurer to cast a ballot for the nominee. This motion requires a unanimous vote, and once it's done, the individual, Ms. Decker, will be declared elected to the office of the vice president. So I'll make that motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mr. Souchaki.
Aye.
Mrs. Etter.
Aye.
Mrs. Decker.
Aye.
Ms. Prouse.
Aye.
Mr. Dobbins.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations.
Thank you. Mr. Souchaki.
And it's time for your turn to do the vote, the
Okay.
flag, or an oath, rather.
So I'll just read it. Okay. I, Jennifer Decker, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge my duties as Vice President of the Board of Education of the Cuyahoga Heights Schools, Cuyahoga County, Ohio, to the best of my ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for accepting the position. Okay, next section is number 5, Board President comments. I do have a couple of comments. I think it's a privilege to be a member of this board at the school district. It's excellent. Can't find many better. I don't know of any better around. I'm pleased to be here, and thank you for your trust in nominating me to be your president to work with our M&M team. That's Matt and Matt.
You have a nickname, I guess.
Aw,
Okay.
Okay.
I think we have an excellent team in place, as we already know from the September meeting, or for the last few months, and I'm looking forward to continuing what we have started with that team. I also do appreciate your support and my fellow board members, and I appreciate your patience with me as I have those occasional senior moments. I am the most senior member of the board, so it will happen on occasion, and I apologize for that. But we'll try to keep things moving forward as best as we can. So, moving on to section 6, organizational meeting business resolutions. We have a whole series of typical resolutions that we have every year, and they are outlined in the agenda. We also have, the alternative tax budget is in there. We will have some comments on that perhaps later from our treasurer. Section 7 is the policy review. We adopted all of these, we reviewed all of these policies at our last meeting. They're all up for second reading and all up for adoption. Again, they are all listed as they are listed in the agenda. And then we have another board business resolution, which we're going to add to the list to approve OSBA membership for 2025. So, with all of those items on our consent agenda, what the heck, I'll make a motion for the consent agenda. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Ms. Rouse, was that you?
Me, yep.
Okay, very good. Are there any discussion, questions? I know Mr. Muccio wants to make some comments on that item that he has.
Yeah, just going up to item 6N. If you look at that, that's our annual alternative tax budget. And I have it up here on the screen. So the county asks us to complete some information, and it's a couple schedules. So we have the guidelines here. Schedule 1 talks about all of our levies that we have in place. And I have this little spreadsheet here just to kind of summarize. Let me quickly just look at the other, I'll leave it there. But just wanted to point out a few interesting aspects to this. So we have tax year 24 on the top and tax year 23 on the bottom for comparison. And we can see that our valuation increase. So before it was $452,231,070. Our valuation for 2024 has gone up to $576,202,490. As a result of that, our revenue has increased in the inside mills, and I'll talk about that. Also of note, I just want to point out that what's new is we see our new levies, the two of them down here, that was approved in March 19th, 2024. And we can see the amounts right there.
So how much are they supposed to bring in?
It was estimated to bring in a certain amount before, and that estimate got revised to the revenue per 1 mil from prior year, which is about $450,000. So we can see the revenue coming in for the 1 mil PI levy that we have as close to $450,000 as the computer system can bring it to. And then the other amount for our general fund levy is about $3.1 million that we have in place. And
That is total or that is additional?
the two of them, so, right, the new money. almost identical to prior year. So if we look at our 1981 levy and 1976 and prior, the 76 and prior was bringing in 2,292,000, same. The 81, 1,041,000, same. The one where it did change, and that's because of HB 920, everything's frozen for what you're collecting. There's some small movement for new construction and whatnot, but the inside mills. So if we look at our inside mills that we have in place, we can see that that rate is 4.1, and prior year, we were bringing in $1.8 million estimated tax revenue that we have in place. Well, because the valuation went up, that's estimated to bring in now 2.3 million. So it's about $500,000 difference that we're going to see increase because the valuation went up, affecting the inside mills that we have in place. So the taxpayers will see an increase, obviously, to the new levy that was passed in March, the 8 mil, 7 for general fund, 1 mil for PI, but also with the valuation increasing, this is for every county, it affects the inside mills, whether it goes up or down. So if valuation goes down, it also goes down as well. But since it went up, we do see that increase in inside mills of about 500,000. So, and if you were interested to really get into the details, you can compare the different classes. So class 1 is residential and agriculture, class 2 is commercial, industrial, and then the third one is public utility, personal property. And I have the amounts broken out. So it's interesting to kind of look at that to see, you know, if the valuation goes up and the amounts overall stay the same, what shifts in between those amounts. So there's some shift higher for public utility, personal property, and it goes lower in class 2 for commercial. So that's kind of interesting to see as it goes.
So we're going to see a $4 million increase?
For the new levy overall,
No.
in addition to the inside mills, correct, about a 4 million. And that's just for tax year 24, collection year 25. It changes from year to year. But
How does that reflect how you forecast it, the 5-year forecast?
we're pretty, safe when we forecast. So it's favorable to us, knock on wood, that, continues that way. So,
Okay.
and that's really it to summarize, just kind of going down from here. We have kind of all the supplemental reports that go along with it. So, we have the, what's called DTE 515, which is right here, and what I get from this report. And I actually had to call the Department of, the Ohio Department of Taxation to get this report because they didn't have it ready for the longest time, and you usually get it early December. This didn't get ready till the 27th, so I kept calling to see because you need these effective rates in order to calculate the amount that you'll get. So, and then the next report is from Cuyahoga County. That would be the valuations that we see, and we can see our 576 million and all the other school districts. And I went through the other ones, and there was substantial increase to all others in the county as well. So across the board, I pretty much saw that same trend we have in place. Below that is just the next schedule, Schedule 2. So it just takes all of our funds put together, and everything for the general fund goes back to the 5-year forecast. So that's what these bubbles represent, just all the supporting documentation that we have in place within the 5-year forecast. So I kind of include the pictures that it references as well, just so everybody can kind of trace everything out. And then the remaining schedules, Schedule 3, it's not applicable to us because we don't have debt. Schedule 4, we don't have debt, so not applicable. And Schedule 5 is tax anticipation notice, more debt, which we don't have. So it's pretty easy what we turn in to Cuyahoga County and the Budget Commission. Really, the only two new items would be the new levy that we have, and just the dramatic increase in valuation that we saw, which affects our inside mills.
So, Mr. Mucho, I do have one follow-up question. Can you give us a rough idea where the district stands relative to other school districts in Cuyahoga County on the real estate taxation metric?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, we are still, us and independents are still the lowest. I'll have to go through an update to add that to those what's in the 5-year forecast. If I go back up to that report from the Ohio Department of Taxation, that DTE 515 right here, we see our tax rate, and the tax rate, will be there for all the different schools that we have in place. So ours actually increased. If we remember, it used to be 35.7 for the longest time that we had in place. But we added right down here the 2024 levy of 8 mills, which increased it from 35.7 to 43.7 now. So
Correct.
8 added on top. So with that, we're still, where we were at, a little bit higher in respect to that, but still at the bottom 2, 3 in the county. Us, yeah, I think Brooklyn was the third one.
Okay, thank you. I was just curious to know on a relative basis where the district stands. We have always enjoyed a fairly low millage rate relative to the other peer districts.
I'll be able to update that for the May 5-year forecast too.
Okay, thank you.
Take a look at those. School.
Anything else?
That's good for that.
Okay, hearing no other comments, treasurer, please call a roll on the, the word I want. See, I told you I was going to do that. The consent agenda. Thank you.
Mr. Souchaki?
Aye.
Ms. Prowse?
Aye.
Mrs. Decker?
Aye.
Mrs. Etter?
Aye.
Mr. Dobbins?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Next item on the list is, we do have one additional Board of Education agenda item, and that is a motion to authorize the superintendent treasurer to utilize the following law firms: Ennis Britton, Brenza McIntyre and Seed, and Haber Polk-Kabat, and Weltman, Weinberg, and Reese. So I'll entertain that motion, please. Can I have a motion for that item?
So moved.
Okay, thank you.
Second?
Ms. Proust and Mr. Dobbins is second. Is there any discussion on those items? Okay, hearing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Ms. Prowse?
Aye.
Mr. Dobbins?
Aye.
Mrs. Decker?
I'm going to abstain.
Mrs. Etter?
Aye.
Mr. Souchaki?
Aye, motion passes 4-0 with one abstention. That's why we had that one pulled out. Comments from the public? There's nobody here. Moving on to section 12, treasurer's business.
Just a few items tonight. I ask for items 12A, 13A through C for tonight's consent agenda.
Okay, I entertain a motion for those items, please.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Decker,
Second.
second by Ms. Etter. Any discussion?
Yeah, just, we have our financial reports, item 13A. We're still on track for where we're at. Item 13B would be purchase orders over 5,000. We just have 2. We would open that lead sheet. The first one is Martin Public Seating, and the second one is TransFinder Corporation, both Matt Young items. Matt, if you want to talk about that one, we have a good picture I can pull up too for the Martin Public Seating to kind of to go along.
Yeah, so if you recall, we annually enter into a partnership with the Career Center for a grant of up to $30,000. This year, we had planned to allocate that money to a STEM lab / makerspace in the elementary school library. And so Martin Public Seating is who we've used in the past for a couple other projects. This room, for example, the elementary office, were all designed by them, as well as a lot of our furniture in the elementary school. So this is the markup that they came up with for that space as you enter the library. Over on the right side where the current teacher's workstation is now going to be open space with mobile tables, adjustable heights, and technology that we're going to have over there for students pre-K through 5th grade. And then we have a small little lounge area over here for our more responsible students. And then we have the teacher workstation is now going to be behind that glassed-in unit. So maximizing the space a little bit better, but also bringing the space up to 2025 standards. And this all fits within the $30,000 budget of $28,000. It's state pricing, so you're not going to be able to find any other vendor that can provide the same pricing for the quality of furniture and design that you're going to get there. So that's the first one. And then we have annually, we have 3 different TransFinder subscriptions that we pay for. This one is just our annual routing subscription. This is what allows us to pull in all the kids and then actually put them on school buses and route them. This also ties into our trips, which we use extensively for athletics, and has streamlined our process there tremendously in the communication between the athletic office and our transportation office. And then the other 2, we've already done Zonar so that we can have GPS units. That was tied to a safety grant that we originally had, and that integrates with this software for the Stop Finder feature so that you can track your kids' little heads and buses or whatever on the app. And then there's a general technical fee of around $1,700 annually that we pay. So they all come due at different times. So that's this one.
And item C is just the then and now that goes with TransFinder.
So, Mr. Young, we spoke about this last week, this contract, and I understand more about it than what I did previously, and that is that one of the things is that the needs and the uses of the contract vary according almost to building. That the elementary students, that population, it's very much a hands-on tool for where the bus is at a given point in time. But I think as it's used in the middle and high school, perhaps it might morph into a supplement to our activities runs.
It could, yeah. So definitely in the elementary school, we have age requirements where we have to have an adult home before we let a student off the bus. That's just an internal
Sure.
age requirement for us, and that helps parents of those, I think it's 3rd grade and under, know that the bus is coming, I've got to get home, or to remind a grandparent or a babysitter, hey, the bus is going to be coming, make sure you're in the doorway so that they can see them. But then the features within the Zonar part allows us to turn on those locating services certain times of the day. So right now, it's only on from about 6:30 in the morning until 8:30, and then we shut it off, and then it comes back on between 2 o'clock and 4:30, because those are the times we're running routes. If we chose to, we could turn those on for field trips or athletic trips, different times of day for different buses. We can do it one bus at a time, or we could do it as a whole fleet if that was important. Otherwise, most of the time you would just see the bus sitting in a bus garage overnight. So, but yeah, those features have become very valuable. I've gotten a lot of positive comments about at least at the elementary
Can we
school.
turn it on remotely?
We can.
Okay, so let's take-
Yeah. I know Paul is really good at it. I'm not very good at it. I can pull open the app and I can see where I can choose a bus and I can follow it on my cell phone. She knows how to actually manipulate, and then Bart Hahn, who's our mechanic that actually installed all of those, which saved us a lot of money. He's pretty adept at it as well. So it's really been it's one of those things when we made the transition 4 years ago. We had an ideal of what we wanted this to be, and so far it's worked out as well and has met the record keeping, because we do some transportation reports at the end of the year. We're able to go into this system, and where Matt used to take a stack of 1,000 papers and manually add up miles to say how many miles did we travel in these extra runs, we're just able to export a spreadsheet, do a quick Excel equation, and there the number is. And it's saved a lot of time, especially in the athletic department. So, yeah, and there are so many more features that we haven't even added on that we just haven't found to be valuable yet. You can actually do all your pre-trips and post-trips, put little sensors around the bus, walk around with an iPad, and you have to actually touch the device so it shows that the driver checked this door or checked this feature or checked this, whatever the protocol is. We haven't done that. We don't have a big fleet, and we have pretty honest people. But if we had a fleet of 40, 50 buses and turnover all the time, then maybe we would add on something like that. But so yeah, it's been very helpful.
As an end user, I'll just add an anecdote, and that is that I've found it to be a very helpful tool, and I'm glad that you've received favorable feedback from others that have expressed similar sentiments. I wouldn't want to speak for anyone except myself, but thus far, it's been a very positive tool. So
That's
thank
good
you.
feedback. Thank you.
Even us on the other end of the age spectrum.
it to you afterwards.
We ready for roll call on this one?
Mrs. Decker?
Aye.
Mrs. Etter?
Aye.
Ms. Kraus?
Aye.
Mr. Dobbins?
Aye.
Mr. Souchek?
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Moving on to section 15, treasurer discussion and comments.
Yep, just had 3 updates for tonight. First update, Hillside Stabilization Project. So, just to kind of set the stage, at the September 4th, 2024 Board of Education meeting, Board of Education approved GPD for architectural, engineering, and design services for that Hillside Stabilization Project, which was estimated to be $450,000. At our last meeting, December 11th, 2024, we authorized soliciting bids to obtain competitive bids. So we are right in the middle of advertising the project. So we're advertising for 3 consecutive weeks. And yesterday, Tuesday, January 7th, we held our pre-bid meeting. Actually, we held it here to start, and we walked the site with GPD as well as any interested vendors. And we had about 6 to 8 vendors on the site. Matt, do you want to add how that went?
Yeah, so we had approximately 6 interested vendors. GPD facilitated it. It was Jason Nodi and Nate, I can't pronounce his last name. Nate's more of an architect. And they basically went through and explained some of the stipulations of the project, what the timelines were going to be. And we walked the south end of the facility. We walked the north end of the facility. They had the ability to ask a few questions, and they have until it's 1 o'clock next week from Friday already. Week from Friday, they will show up, those that are actually still interested, provide their sealed bids to Mr. Muccio, who, per policy, with 1 additional witness, I plan to be there, as well as GPD will be there. We will open up those bids to see if we can find the lowest responsible bid in accordance with board policy.
Yep, we have our tentative timeline here. So as Matt was saying, Friday, January 17th, we're set to open the bids at 1 o'clock. So all bids are due to us that time, and we'll open it. We'll tabulate as they come in, and then we'll all work together with the plan to bring forward a recommendation on the lowest responsive bidder for Wednesday, January 22nd. So that's an aggressive, timeline.
So you guys are going to come to us
Yes.
on that board meeting and give your recommendations from the bids?
That we have a
Right.
contract template for review that GPD provided us. We went through it today. Matt contacted John Britton and has sent that template to them. Once the bid comes in, all the numbers and requirements will be plugged into that. There'll be an additional review by the attorney, and then that'll come to the Board of Education.
Yep, we'll come together, and, GPD's also, we hired them to be, our owner's rep essentially, so they're gonna, recommend, we'll all work together and bring that forward, so we should have everything put together at that point in time, and, that timeline should still hold suit where, construction is anticipated June through July of 2025, and anticipated to be completed by August 2025. But you never know, once you start, drilling in the ground, you never know.
We hope we find oil,
Yeah.
but we're probably going to
Wouldn't
find
that
water,
be-
but we hope we find oil.
Wouldn't that be a fun surprise?
So are we just going to see the winning bid, or are you going to share the bids with us?
Oh, we'll share them all, absolutely, yep. All, so, we'll upload each one, and we'll say this is the recommendation from, the lowest responsible one. And we have a matrix in our board policy, that we work with and, make that recommendation.
So there's no conflict or confidentiality with showing those bids?
That's why they're
publicly?
sealed, right, so they're sealed at this point in time, so no
Yeah, I
other.
know, but what you said you're going to bring them to the board.
They'll be opened at that point.
Yep, we open them and they're public essentially at that
They
point.
have to be public, right? That's
Mhm.
fun.
So then we, work on it. And then I'll modify appropriations at that point in time too, assuming we go forward with.
Okay.
Second update we have ago, we joined participating in the cybersecurity grant that was through NeoNet. So there were a number of schools that did join. Our cost would be a cost share with NeoNet, approximately $4,000 would be our amount that we would put up. NeoNet was awarded that grant. So this is the email from NeoNet that's attached. And in it, they share that they're excited that they were selected as one of only 2 information technology centers in Ohio to receive the security grant. The grant will enable NeoNet to accelerate the implementation of cybersecurity standards and build on the progress that they've made, including incident response planning, user awareness training, and multi-factor authentication. The grant will allow NeoNet to have 24/7 network monitoring and add a cybersecurity expert to NeoNet's team. So overall, NeoNet is receiving for all the schools that join this collective $1.1 million in total. Now, we do want to talk with them on, what it looks like once the grant expires and how the funding for that position, would be sustainable going into the future. So we'll work all together with the other schools in NeoNet on that going forward. But, from what we're seeing, cybersecurity is just becoming a must almost each and every day. So. And then
We're getting $4,000 out of that amount, or we're getting the services?
Right, we're sharing in the services, not a
Sharing in the
portion of it. It's a
services.
certain, yeah.
Reduces.
Yeah.
I think talking with Mr. Moore, it was like $12,000 type of service, so $4,000 great value for that grant.
And the last update tonight is the billboard. So we got an update, and this is the email from Lamar, and they have the permits and the second digital face, because we already have one out there, so this would be the second one, has been ordered. So they have a tentative timeline of mid to late February for installation, weather permitting. So should be hopefully up by March.
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
And that's all I have for tonight.
So that would be additional revenue from those,
It will.
from that billboard?
Yes.
Once it's active? Perfect.
Yep, prorated for this year, but yep.
Yeah.
And how much is that roughly?
I think a full year's worth is, off my memory, about 305,000 per
Okay.
year. Without, I think it's 197,000. So it's substantial with the addition of that second digital billboard per year.
Yeah, right, very worthwhile.
That'll be like a 15-year, from my memory, agreement at 305,000 per year. So it's
Very good.
Good.
Thank you for getting that taken care of. Okay, any questions for the treasurer before we move on? Anything else? All right, moving into section 16, superintendent's business. Mr. Young.
Okay, for tonight, pretty short as well. I have 16A, 17A, 18A, and 19A for consideration as part of the consent agenda.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for those items, please.
So moved?
Moved by Ms. Decker,
I'll second.
and Ms. Prowse is the second. Is there any discussion?
Okay, so the first item, 16A, this is our revised miscellaneous pay rate schedule for the 2024-25 school year, accommodating for the rise in minimum wage. All right, and this affects our ticket takers for tournaments, invitations, and some of our track relays, as well as cashiers for the pool and fitness center. So with 2025 came a slight increase of, looks like 25 cents, and so this reflects that 25% increase so that we can pay them properly. 17A, this is the first memorandum of understanding we've received. We usually receive 4 or 5 of these annually. For College Credit Plus, this is for Kent State University that will go into effect starting the 25-26 school year. We usually get, I think, Lorraine County Community College, Tri-C, Cleveland State University, and University of Akron typically comes through annually. We have the resignation of Mrs. Treziak, cafeteria staff member. I believe she's been on since 2015, resident, children went to school here. she has an opportunity of employment somewhere else. She's been a tremendous employee, loyal employee to us, very dependable in anything that we've asked her to do, and she's going to be missed as a cafeteria staff member. That leads to 19A, which is her replacement. So we're getting creative with this. Paula Schaefer, who has been a 7-hour per day cleaner at step 11 on the salary schedule. Turns out the salary schedule for cleaners and cafeteria folks are exactly the same. They mirror each other. And she had requested to be moved for 4 hours a day, up to 4 hours a day to the cafeteria. So gives her a little variety in her job. Still 7 hours a day, but it will now be distributed between 4 hours in the elementary cafeteria, at least for now, or wherever she gets assigned, and then 3 hours as a cleaner. Still staying with the 7 hours, not to exceed the 7 hours unless approved by one of her supervisors, and still at step 11. So everything is clean with respect to this. So that's how we're going to replace Mrs. Strzeziak.
Okay. Questions? Any other discussion? Hearing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Decker?
Aye.
Ms. Prowse?
Aye.
Mrs. Etter?
Aye.
Mr. Dobbins?
Aye.
Mr. Sajaki?
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Section 21, superintendent discussion and comments.
Okay, I'll try to be brief. So January is School Board Recognition Month, and we will more formally recognize the Board of Education at our next meeting with your superhero certificates, as well as some amazing comments that are very well deserved. But we are going to feature you in this week's superintendent's newsletter. So Mrs. Deal probably reached out to you just to get.
That's why we're all wearing matching shirts.
That's where you're wearing your
That
matching
was
shirts.
another
We're
you
going
commented
to,
on, by the way.
we're going to get another photo tonight. And, but you're definitely part of our championship staff, and we certainly, I would certainly appreciate everything you continually do for our school and our district. And Mr. Shuchaki is right. You're going to be hard pressed to find a better Board of Education and a better school district anywhere. And if people want to challenge me on that, then they can apply for a job and come here and see how amazing it really is. So I was in a meeting yesterday with the State Superintendent's Association, and they were raining down all kinds of wonderful news from the state level, starting with the U.S. Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, has been put in place with the new administration with the purpose of expanding school choice from a federal standpoint. So you're probably not going to get an elimination of the federal department, or the U.S. Department of Education, simply so that you have a platform in order to expand vouchers. And what that would essentially mean is that a student could receive both a state and a federal voucher to go somewhere other than the public school in which they live. So, that's likely to come down the pike. Just stay tuned for that. They kicked off the 136th General Assembly on Monday. You've got a new Speaker of the House of Representatives. The former President of the Senate, Matt Huffman, is now the forever Speaker of the Ohio House of Representatives and the primary proponent for Ed Choice and the voucher system in Ohio. So look for very coordinated efforts there. They're going to be working on the biennial budget for fiscal year 26 and 27. That should begin on February 3rd with the governor introducing his final budget proposal, and look for him to leave his lasting mark on the state of Ohio. I think overall he's been a pretty good and stable governor, but he has acquiesced a lot to the state legislature. And we'll talk about some of the things, especially the bill that he signed into law today. But we're looking for the Fair School Funding Formula to receive current year inputs and to be implemented on schedule, and I know there's opposition to that. So we don't receive a lot from the state, but every little bit matters. And that could become important because there is a movement at the legislative level to make open enrollment mandatory for all school districts in Ohio. Should that happen, there would be no tuition program. and there would therefore be no revenue. You would only receive what you receive per pupil from the state of Ohio through the Fair School Funding Formula, which is about $800 per kid. So, there's a long way for that to go, but they are looking for mandatory inter-district open enrollment as part of this next budget bill, in addition to property tax reform amid consistently increasing property values. So look for that. Almost done. During the lame duck session, you probably heard about the Parent Bill of Rights and religious release time. The governor signed that into law today. So we'll talk more about that at another time because policy is going to be affected by that. So we'll talk about those implications later. House Bill 206 is going to increase our ability, not that we have a tremendous number of expulsions in this school district, but it increases that number from 90 days to 180 days, and 180 days is effectively a school year. For things that are more that are more serious, so for example, if a child brought a weapon to school and you expel them, you can only expel them for 90 days, and then unless they were criminally prosecuted and end up in juvenile detention, they come back to your home district within 90 days. This now allows you to increase that to 180 days under certain provisions. House Bill 432, which was the Career Technical Educator Licensure Flexibility Bill, also had a Senate Bill 29 correction. So if you remember, we had the notification requirements for essentially any reference to threat, even in classroom assignments, and any monitoring that we did of those threats and assignments had to receive a notification to the families for everything. That has been corrected, and now we're looking at only those things that are actually deemed to be actual threats to the child or self-harm. So, those are the big things that came out of lame duck and are coming down the pike with the new General Assembly. So, I don't know how favorable it is for public schools, not very overall, but we seem to be a pretty resilient school district, and we will continue to work together and focus on our tremendous excellence of our communities, of our students, of our staff, Board of Education, administration to forge forward and continue to achieve as one of the top school districts in Ohio. So, but the funding piece could become problematic down the line because an aging school building like ours, we've had three of our heating coil units rupture this week alone, bringing water down into the one locker room and the plaster falling off the ceiling. Well, it's because our units are old. You see what we have going on over here. That's so our server room doesn't literally melt down and ruin our entire server infrastructure over there. So, there's going to be some challenges, always with funding, but we always seem to be resilient. So keep working together, communicating, and we will continue to survive and thrive.
Mr. Young, I do have one follow-up question to your comments. Was there any discussion along the lines of whether the possible change at the federal level, whether that would require a change in federal law, or is that something could be done through the administrative process, or there was no discussion to that point?
It was very, very brief discussion about the federal level, just who the new director of education was going to be. Some about Title IX. There was you had the Obama era Title IX, and then President Trump came in and changed it, and then President Biden came in and changed it, and now President Trump coming in is going to change that again. That's probably where you're going to see maybe some of the biggest chatter is going to be around Title IX. I don't think there's going to be any significant changes to IDEA, which is our students with disabilities or some of our title funding. But they are looking to expand the voucher system and to give a lot of rights back to the states for education. So, but not a lot at this meeting yesterday. I think people are still in flux. Matt Muccio and I are going to the Ashland Leadership Conference. The first of the 3 sessions is this weekend. There is I believe it's about a 4-hour legal update by Ennis Britton, and they will be going over a lot of the new changes to Ohio law and federal law and what those implications are likely to be. So we will be able to report back next week a little bit more detail through their lens. But we don't receive a lot of federal funding and a lot of state funding, so a lot of what happens, we never turn away money, right? And it's very important, about $1 million worth of grant funding, isn't it right or so? No, it's not even $1 million every year, 300,000. I was thinking of ESSER funding, but it's still significant, so we'll keep an eye on all of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion? All right, hearing none, let's move on to 22, board discussion, committee reports and comments. Anyone? Everybody's quiet tonight. I'll get my phone open again. At the last meeting at the Career Center, we had this annual strategic plan superintendent's report. It's a lovely report. Would you like me to send it to you? Would that be the, it might be the easiest way to do it, is just forward it to you, and then we can discuss it at our next meeting if there's any questions. But it's, the Career Centers is also a 5-star district like we are, and staffing staffing changes are like here. People want to come there. So that goes along very well. We are continuing to expand. There's a construction project, hopefully will be done by the beginning of the next school year. So this summer, we hope that construction project is done. And I think last time, I'm just glancing at the presentation here. Didn't I, and I don't have it in front of me, the next meeting I'll make sure to mention, but I thought I mentioned the last time some of the directions that we're going, the new courses that are being added right now.
You have mentioned those in the past. I think
Yeah.
there are going to be 3 new offerings.
Right, and right now I can't think what they are. But,
Something with landscaping or?
yeah, the
Self-
landscaping and horticulture is
Cell phone
coming in.
tower
Cell phone,
construction or
the cell
maintenance.
tower thing is a little bit older.
Okay.
That's been around
That's
for
what I
about a
was
year and a
thinking of.
half.
Okay.
I think there's one other one too. But anyhow, I'll make sure to have that list for you next time, since right now I can't take it off the top of my head. So things, again, our meeting is tomorrow night, and things continue to go well down there as they are here. So.
I would look for that career tech education to expand into your traditional schools as well. There's the talk about career tech for all. There was the college and career readiness movement. Now you're entering the career tech for all phase. And I know Mr. Mangus had talked about the career specialists that we had, Julie Regula. She'll be assigned here, I believe, and all of the districts will have a full-time career specialist starting next school year, I believe.
We were sharing ours with Independence, but I thought we already had our own full-time, no?
It's what they'll do is they'll actually mirror the number of days. They'll mirror the home district's days, and they will receive. I think it has to also do with like a benefit package for them as well. So,
Still some-
they may have been just assigned to us, but rather than being maybe 100, because I think she's only here 4 days a week, as opposed to 5 days a week. So it would. I know he had talked about those things expanding as well as a potential requirement that districts will have to have a career tech program within their own school districts in addition to the career centers. So there's definitely that expansion. The Director of Education Workforce talked about Ohio's desirability for businesses and a workforce that we simply don't have the number of people for.
Right.
And so that's the movement in the state of Ohio.
We don't have enough people for it, and we don't have enough power for it. We've been seeing some of those articles about the amount of electrical power that is required, and some state made some changes allowing industries to have more control over power plants, which I found interesting too. Yeah, lots of changes. Life never slows down, it only goes faster. Okay, item 23, any possible future agenda items? Okay, hearing none, moving on, informational items. It should be noted, the Board of Education members received their agendas several days prior and have had time to study and so on. Okay, I didn't, notice is hereby given that the alternative tax budget for 2025 is available for public inspection in the office of the treasurer. Upcoming board meetings. Our next one is January 22nd, Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Then February 12th at 6, a work session, and a regular meeting on February 26th, also at 7. Anything else to come before the board tonight?
I do have one question on the alternative tax budget motion or notice. Is that to be for 2026 or 2025?
It is 26. If you open that attachment,
Okay.
it is for fiscal year.
All right, thank you. We just flipped the calendar to 25 and we're already talking 26.
Believe me, I'm losing track of everything.
Doesn't take long,
I
does
will
it?
probably not be at the 26th one. That's Aaron's last band concert at 7 PM. February? Yep. I was looking at my calendar. Or one of her last. I mean, that's a band concert night. I don't know, can we move it to 6? We'll be done by 7?
Those are typically students in months.
Oh, they are. Oh, they're just doing the month one. It is
Yep.
a longer meeting.
A lot of parents get committed at that time, too.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
Okay.
You should go to the concert, or go to.
I'll look at the agenda. It's not that much. Where's, yeah.
All right, anything else? Okay, we'll accommodate you as much as we can. Okay, moving on to section 25, adjournment. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Dobbins,
Second?
second by Mrs. Utter. Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mr. Dobbins?
Aye.
Mrs. Utter?
Aye.
Mrs. Decker?
Aye.
Ms. Prowse?
Aye.
Mr. Soucek?
Aye, motion passes 5-0. It is 7.